The first time I walked a custom harvest yard in Kansas and counted more green machines parked along the fence line than working in the field, I understood what I was looking at. Those were not retired combines. Those were trade-ins waiting on a title transfer. A custom crew does not park a John Deere S790 out of sentiment. It parks it because the arithmetic on a per-acre contract stopped working. And the arithmetic on a custom run is brutal and simple. You are paid by the acre, and you are blamed for the sample. Now go look at what those same outfits pulled onto the lowboy trailers to replace them, and you will find a machine painted a shade of green that is not John Deere green at all. It comes out of a plant in Omaha, Nebraska, and the reason it won has almost nothing to do with the flag on the badge. The numbers. The Claas Lexion 8900 carries an 18,000-liter grain tank and empties it in about 100 seconds, at something near 180 liters every second off the auger. Under the hood is a 16.2-liter MAN engine rated at 790 horsepower. The John Deere X9 1100, the biggest thing Deere builds, runs a 13.6-liter engine at 690 horsepower and holds 16,210 liters, which Deere lists as 460 bushels. Those are close numbers. The separator underneath them is not close at all. Let me say one thing, and then I will not bring it up again. Everything I learned behind that dealer counter about combines is in a manual called the Equipment Freedom Manual. It is at getacron.com, linked in the description and the pinned comment. If you want it, it is there. That is all. What people get wrong. There is a story that gets told about this switch, and the story is that Europe simply builds better machinery, and I do not think that story is true or useful. Here is the part almost nobody mentions. The Lexion combines running in Kansas and Oklahoma and the Dakotas are built in Omaha, Nebraska. Claas has been assembling combines in Omaha since 1997, first in a temporary building, then in a purpose-built plant of more than 200,000 square feet that opened in 2001. Older operators will remember why that plant went up in the first place. It began as a joint venture with Caterpillar, and for a stretch, those machines came out the door painted Caterpillar yellow and black with a cat badge on the side. Caterpillar walked away from agriculture, and Claas took full ownership of the site in 2002. I remember those yellow Lexions showing up at farm shows while I was still wearing a dealer shirt, and I remember how the green side of the aisle talked about them, which was mostly by not talking about them. In the spring of 2025, that Omaha line built its 10,000th Lexion for North America. The company sits on better than 120 acres in Omaha and has built on only a small share of it. So when a Nebraska custom cutter buys a Lexion, he is buying a combine assembled by Nebraskans about an hour from where it will cut. Whatever this switch is, it is not an American operator turning his back on American labor. Here is the actual reason. Take the threshing system, because that is where the money is on a custom run. The John Deere X9 is a dual rotor machine. The crop goes into the rotors, and the rotors do the work of both threshing the grain loose and separating it from the straw. And those two jobs live on the same shaft at the same speed. The Claas Lexion 8000 series uses a system Claas calls APS Synflow Hybrid. Before the crop ever reaches the twin rotors, an accelerated pre-separation drum threshes out as much as 30% of the grain. Only what is left goes to the rotors. And the threshing speed and the separation speed are controlled independently of one another. Sit with what that means for a man who starts in Oklahoma wheat in June and finishes in North Dakota spring wheat in September, with corn and milo in between. Every crop change is a retune. On a single-speed rotor, you are always trading one thing for the other. Faster to thresh clean, and you crack grain and grind straw into the sieves. Slower to protect the sample, and your acres per day fall off. Independent control means you stop making that trade. That is not a European engineering preference. That is 30 or 40 more acres in a day on a machine you are financing in a window that closes when it rains. Subscribe if you want the machine judged on what it does in the field rather than on the paint. What it costs. A custom crew is a business with almost no margin for a bad afternoon. Run the numbers on a 1,000-acre day at a per-acre rate, and one plugged rotor costs more than a month of shop bills. And the loss does not stop at the acres you failed to cut. A cracked sample gets docked at the elevator, and the docking follows the crew, not the machine. A custom cutter who delivers damaged corn to a terminal in Salina twice does not get that contract back the following June, and no warranty in any dealership covers a lost customer. That is the number nobody puts in the brochure, and it is the number the men making this switch actually ran. Deere's answer to this pressure was the S7 series, launched for the 2025 harvest to replace the S770, the S780, the S785, and the S790. The new range shares its cab and body with the X9, runs Stage 5 engines, and Deere says it delivers up to 20% more productivity on 10% less fuel. Those are real improvements, and I am not going to pretend otherwise. But look at what the improvement is. It is a better version of the same single-rotor concept, arriving in 2025 against a hybrid separator Claas has been refining since the Lexion name first appeared in the 1990s. Boeing got itself into the same corner. The company had a good airframe and a dealer relationship with the airlines that felt permanent. So instead of designing a new aircraft, it kept stretching the 737, because a derivative gets certified faster and protects the installed base. The finance people were right about the quarter and wrong about the decade. Deere's installed base and its dealer network are the strongest in agriculture, and that strength is exactly what lets a company answer a competitor's separator with a marketing figure. The honest part. Now, I have to give you the piece that complicates my own headline, and I would rather you heard it from me. In late September and early October of 2025, Claas announced it is moving production of the 2026 model year Lexion 8000 series out of Omaha to its plant in Harswinkel, Germany. The reason is tariffs. Those Canadian-bound machines were getting hit with 50% reciprocal Canadian duties on steel and aluminum, so Claas will build them in Germany and ship them straight to Canada. Read the limits on that carefully, because they matter. It applies to combines destined for Canadian farms. John Schofield, the North American marketing coordinator for Claas, said the combines made for Canada will mostly be made in Germany instead of coming out of Omaha. Machines for United States customers continue to be assembled in Omaha. No layoffs were announced. The plant still employs more than 250 people, and a new research center is going up on the site. Production there has slowed. It has not moved. And the honest counterweight to everything I have said about the separator is this. Deere's dealer network is bigger, closer, and faster on parts than Claas is in most counties. And in the middle of harvest, a part on the shelf 40 minutes away beats a better threshing concept 9 hours away every single time. So I would not tell any man to sell his X9 1100 tomorrow. What I would say is that the custom crews who moved to Claas did not do it because they stopped being American, and they did not do it because a magazine told them Europe was better. They did it with a spreadsheet. in Omaha-built machines after counting acres per day and looking at the sample in their hand. That is the oldest kind of decision there is on this ground, and it deserves better than being called disloyal by people who have never been paid by the acre. Subscribe if you stand with the operators who judge a machine by what it does at the end of a long day.